So what I've installed right now is Elementor and Elementor Pro, so we can actually create the dynamic product page as you can see right here, because we need Elementor Pro for that. Oh, and I forgot to say, what I've also done is install WooCommerce. It's super easy. Go to the plugin section, search for WooCommerce, install WooCommerce, and you can skip the setup that they ask you to do. And what I've also done is I created my first product. So here under the products tab, I clicked on add new and I've given it a title. The title that you see over here is the title that will be displayed over here. That's the dynamic title. It's different for every product. You can see the price over here, 140 and 155. This is a different website, by the way. You can set the prices up over here. I've just used a simple product. We're not going to make it difficult in this first episode because we just want to display the important data. I've created a few categories over here. You can just add in a name over here and then click on add a new category. So I've created 3 categories over here and I've checked one box, which then we can display over here. The text that you see over here is the exact same text as you see over here. That's just a normal text field in the same way as it is for a blog post inside WordPress. And then at the bottom over here, the only thing that I haven't done yet is the product image, because I want to say something about the product images. So what I've done is for this website, I have created an artboard inside of my Photoshop with all the watches that I want to display on the website. And I've put everything on a gray background. And that is why this background is gray over here. That is not part of WooCommerce or Elementor. That is just part of the actual image. So I like to prepare my images like this inside of Photoshop, so then I'm sure that all the images are big. They're not too big inside of file size, because you also want to compress them so your website will stay fast, and I can check the quality before I upload it. So I've exported these images, as you can see over here, to very small file sizes, 200 kilobytes. That's a good size for an image. I try to get all my images between 2 and 300 or 2 and 400, depends on how big the image is. I mean, for header images you can go a little bit higher, but you want to keep it as low as possible. So for example, this was the raw image that is more than 1 megabyte. That's way too much. So you want to keep that as low as possible. And also for the images over here in the carousel, which you can set up under here. Oh, sorry, it's called gallery. I've set those up in Adobe XD. Again, it doesn't really matter what kind of tool you use to edit your pictures, but it's much better to prepare your images and prepare all the artboards before you dump everything into WooCommerce. I know that you just want to upload all of the pictures that you have, but you want to keep your website fast. So take a little bit of time to create a few artboards like this in a tool like Adobe XD, Lightroom, Photoshop, or whatever, to make sure that all of the images are the same size, because on my example website the images are not the same size, they are way too big, and as you can see this jumps all over the place, which is not what I really like. So for this tutorial I want to make it a little bit nicer, so that's why I've compressed all of the images. So these were the original images, very big, very sharp. So I've created this. Here, look at this. 100 kilobytes. That is 1/10 of a megabyte. That is really small. So that is super nice for these images, and they're still sharp enough for this gallery that you can see over here. And let's see what Astra will give us right out of the box, because I've also installed the theme Astra, like I told you in the first episode. That's a good theme for your website. So by default, your WordPress website will look like this. So now let's just refresh the page, and this is the clean Astra. And as you can see, it already has added a few buttons. That is what WooCommerce does to the menu. Let's click on the shop and let's see what we have already. Okay, so this is what we have already, straight out of the box with WooCommerce and Astra. Not too bad. Let's just click on the product page for now and let's see what happens. Okay, so this is what Astra gives us, but I want to change the design, right? And you don't have a lot of possibilities with changing the theme options, so that's where Elementor Pro comes in. So now that we know that the data is working, we can go to Elementor, but there's one mistake that I made, and that is that the normal image is also part of the gallery. So let's go back, scroll down, delete this, because this image is always going to be the first image of the gallery anyways. So don't add your normal product page to the gallery. Click on update, let's see if it works, refresh, and that works. Perfect. So now we're going to create the template with Elementor for our product. So let's go to templates and click on the theme builder. I am not yet used to the new theme builder. So I'm just going to use the old one, but what you need to do is create a single product template. So maybe it will look a little bit different in your version, because I have a feeling that they're going to push this new theme builder, but I like the old one. I mean, I'm sorry. Just click on add new and make sure that it's on single product. That is important. And then just give your template a name like product template v1. So maybe you want to test with a few different things. Don't just put this here. Make sure that you put in the good names so that you can find it back easily. Okay, so please don't click on these ones because you want to have full control of the design. Okay, so let's take a look at the design over here. So what did I do? First of all, there are two big columns. So here is a main section, and then there's a column for the images, and then there's a column for all the data. And then we also have some related products over here. So let's just first start with that structure. I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna click on a new section, two columns, one for the image, two for the data. All right, I'm gonna add a little bit of padding on the top and the bottom, like always. And now, if you click on the 9 dots, you will see product widget over here. So this is what comes with Elementor Pro. And this will only show up at the top if you create a product single template, because Elementor now already knows that we want to create a template for a product, because we've selected the product single template option of Elementor Pro. Alright, so here you can just really easily drag in all the elements that you want to create your product page. So let's start with the basic things. Product images. Let's just drag that in and see what happens. Okay, so that already looks pretty nice. So what Elementor does is it loads in the product gallery with the style that Astra provides. So this is not straight Elementor. This will look different if you use a different theme. But I've already done the research for you, so you don't have to search for another theme. Astra is very good. So you have a few options over here to turn a few things off. For example, this search icon over here. I don't really need a search icon over here. So let's see where we can delete that. And as you can see, it's not possible. So what's happening here? Well, what's happening is that this is part of Astra. So there are some things that you need to edit inside of Astra. So we don't have a lot of freedom here. We have a little bit of freedom, but not a lot. As you can see, I can turn off this sales badge if I want to. I can set up a little bit of spacing, but I can't, for example, turn off this. So let's just deal with that later. Let's make this column a little bit smaller, maybe 45. Let's click on a few other images to see if this works. Yes, this works perfectly. And now let's drag in a few other widgets. Okay, let's go back to our final. We want breadcrumbs, a title, and the price. Let's just do that. So, click over here, breadcrumbs, go back, title, go back, price. Alright, then there's this category, and then there's a description, and an add to cart. Alright, so let's add that too. So the category is part of the product meta. So if you drag in the meta over here, you can see that it displays the category. Then you want to drag in the product content, because that is the text, the dynamic text, and it already loads in, so that is nice. And then the last thing is the add to cart button. So let's drag in the add to cart button. As you can see, this is all dynamic, and most of the elements here we can customize that completely, which is awesome. So before you start going in really excited and change all the style options in here, but it's the same thing. So if you click on the hamburger in the left corner, so again, just click on this one, and you go to site settings, you will have the global colors, the global fonts, and everything over here. My advice is to work as much as possible from where you set up the colors and the typography for the whole website. And you want to have a consistent style throughout your website. So the titles, the main titles should all be the same thing. Well, not always, but you get the point. You want a consistent design. So for example, with global fonts, for my primary header, I already know that I don't want Roboto. I want Play Fair Display. And as you can see now, it already changes the title over here. That is pretty cool. Secondary, that is the second title. The text over here, that's already Roboto. I like Roboto, but let's say that I want something else. For example, pop-ins, what I use on my Living with Pixels website. That looks also really modern. And the accent, I will just leave it like that. For the global colors, it's the same thing. The primary color is the color that will come back in a lot of places. So if you change that over here, it will change on all of the places. So right now, I'm gonna put that at purple. Secondary, that's okay. The text is nice. And the accent color, I also want to make that purple. And what I also advise you to do is to go to typography and also change the color of the link to that same one. So if you go over here, you can see that it's not saved yet. So sometimes it's better to click on update, then click on refresh, then go back again into the site settings, typography, and now you can see that your default colors load in. So you can click on primary and then you can see that this one also has that same color. But let's just test it out real quick what we have created. So if you click on publish over here, you click on add conditions, it's already set up at products. So now all the products will have this template over here. So let's just check that if that works. So let's just click on view live site. Okay, so this is how the page looks. Everything works, that's pretty nice. So if you compare it to the basic page, you can almost do no customization over here, and we have already created this, so that is pretty cool already. But we want more, right? For example, we want to change this button. And also if you go to the card, so if you click on the card, you will also see some blue elements. So like I said before, some things you will still need a theme because it's just not as customizable as Elementor is with most other websites. You have limitations. So let's just go back one step and then click on the customize button over here. So inside of global, you can set up a few different things. So let's just first start with the button. It's not inside of button, it's inside of colors. So go to base colors and then you can set up the color over here. I'm gonna use one of my Chrome extension plugins to get the same color code. This one, okay. And then I'm gonna put those codes in here. And as you can see now, the button has changed. I'm also gonna change the link color because maybe at some places it will also display that. All right, perfect. So now the whole theme is purple. Okay, so this is all we need to set up for now. Let's just click on publish and let's go back to our page. So you can go click on the X and now we are over here. So let's just click on edit with Elementor again, click on the product template, and I'm gonna close the old one. And we're now back in the Elementor editor. And sometimes, as you can see, the product image doesn't load for some reason. I don't really get that. So sometimes I just turn on this and then it shows. I don't understand why. But now it shows my image again.